In a sun-drenched village nestled between rolling hills and whispering olive groves, there lived a young woman named Ilara. From her very first breath, beauty had been both her gift and her curse. She had hair like midnight silk, eyes the deep green of ancient forests, and skin that glowed like polished marble. Villagers spoke of her in hushed tones, as if saying her name might summon envy or misfortune. Yet, for all her radiance, Ilara's life was one of quiet isolation. Her humble farmer parents had named her after the moon goddess's handmaiden, hoping she would shine softly, bringing light without drawing too much attention. But beauty like hers could not be hidden. By the time she was 12, suitors from neighboring towns arrived with gifts of silk and gold, only to be turned away politely by her father. "She is not ready," he would say, though the truth was, he feared what her beauty might invite. The village girls, however, felt no such restraint. There were 4 of them who formed the tightest circle: Mira, with her sharp tongue; Leora, whose laughter was always a little too loud; Selina, quiet but watchful; and Thalassa, the boldest of them all. They had grown up together, sharing secrets under the old fig tree by the river. But when Ilara blossomed, something shifted. The boys who once chased them now lingered near Ilara's garden gate. The compliments they once received were redirected. The festivals where they once danced now had a new center of attention. At first, it was just small things, whispers behind hands. "She thinks she's better than us. Look at her, strutting like a peacock. Her beauty is a trap. She'll steal our husbands." Mira was the first to voice it openly. During a village gathering, as Ilara helped serve bread and olives, Mira leaned in to the others and said, "She doesn't even have to try. Everything comes to her. It's unfair." The words spread like wildfire. Ilara felt the change. Conversations died when she approached. Invitations to walk by the river dwindled. Eyes narrowed when she smiled. She had always been kind, sharing her mother's fresh-baked bread, helping with harvests, listening to the elders' stories. But kindness, when paired with beauty, sometimes looked like arrogance to those who felt overlooked. One summer evening, the village celebrated the harvest festival. Lanterns hung from trees, music filled the air, and wine flowed freely. Ilara wore a simple white dress her mother had sewn, its hem embroidered with tiny flowers. She danced alone at first, twirling under the stars, lost in the rhythm. Then, a young man named Kale, newly arrived from the city, asked her to dance. He was handsome, kind, and spoke of poetry and distant lands. For the first time in years, Ilara felt truly seen, not for her face, but for her thoughts. The 4 girls watched from the shadows. Thalassa's face twisted. "She ruined him," she muttered. "She ruins everything she touches." That night, they hatched a plan. It wasn't born from pure malice, but from a deeper, more insidious pain. The fear that Ilara's beauty made their own worth seem lesser. Days later, the rumors began. Mira told women at the well that Ilara was meeting Kale in secret, that she had bewitched him with potions. Leora added that Ilara had laughed at their families behind their backs. Selina whispered that Ilara's beauty was unnatural, perhaps even cursed. Thalassa spread the worst lie, that Ilara turned away good men from the village because she only wanted those from wealthier places. The village turned on her. Mothers who once praised Ilara's gentleness now avoided her. Fathers who had offered her fruit from their orchards now looked away. Even her own parents felt the weight. Her mother wept one night, saying, "I wish you were plain, my daughter. Then you would be safe." Ilara withdrew, spending hours in the fields, finding solace among the flowers. The isolation gnawed at her, making her wonder if her very existence was a sin. Kale, however, refused to believe the lies. He sought her out one afternoon, finding her among the wildflowers. "I don't care what they say," he told her. "I see you, Ilara. Not the face the village fears, but the heart beneath it." For the first time, she allowed herself to hope. But the girls' envy had taken root too deep. One night, under a moonless sky, they lured Ilara to the river with a false message that her mother was ill. When she arrived, they confronted her. Myra stepped forward, her voice trembling with rage. "Why do you have to be so perfect? Why can't you just be like us?" Ilara's eyes filled with tears. "I never asked for this," she whispered. "I would trade it all for friends who truly saw me." Thalassa laughed bitterly. "Friends? You don't need friends. You have your beauty." In that moment, something inside Ilara broke. She turned and ran, but the path was dark. The river swollen from recent rains. She slipped on the wet stones and fell into the rushing water. The village searched for her through the night. Kale found her first, half drowned but alive, clinging to a branch. He carried her home, where her parents nursed her back to health. Ashamed and terrified, the girls confessed everything. The village elders gathered, and for once, the truth was spoken aloud. Beauty was not a crime, but envy was a poison. The 4 girls were not punished severely. They were young and foolish, but they were made to apologize publicly. Mira, the ringleader, approached Elara first. "We hated you because we feared what we could never have," she said, "but we were wrong. Your beauty is yours, and it doesn't diminish ours." Elara forgave them, not because she had to, but because she understood. She had spent her life believing her beauty made her unworthy of love, but in that act of forgiveness, she found her own strength. Years passed. Elara married Kale, and they built a home on the hill overlooking the village. She had 2 daughters, both beautiful in their own ways, one with her mother's eyes, the other with a quiet fire. The village changed, slowly. Mothers taught their children that beauty was a light to share, not a treasure to hoard. The 4 girls grew into women who remembered their mistake and taught their own daughters kindness above all else. Elara never forgot the pain, but she also never let it define her. She became the village's quiet healer, using herbs and words to mend what envy had broken. And on quiet evenings, when the sun dipped below the hills, she would sit by the river, the same one that had nearly claimed her, and whisper to the water, "Beauty is not a curse, it is a mirror. What others see in it reflects their own hearts." In time, the village told her story, not as a warning against beauty, but as a lesson in compassion, for in hating what we cannot have, we lose what we already possess, the chance to love, to forgive, and to see ourselves clearly. And so, Elara lived, not as the woman hated for her beauty, but as the one who taught others that true radiance always comes from within. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please give it a like and subscribe for more content that touches the heart. See you next time.